Hello friends of the Vision Crypto channel. Today I'm bringing you a video about a coin that used to be more of an insider tip in the past, but with the latest bullish news it has really developed or could develop into a major player. Today we're talking about SEI and the bullish news from the past few days, and we'll discuss how all of this could impact the bull run. We'll talk about possible price targets if the bull run for SEI proceeds relatively normally, and we'll also discuss how the bull run for SEI could develop if the bullish news really takes off. In addition, we'll also talk about pitfalls that could still arise on the way to SEI's all-time high, and we'll discuss possible pitfalls, yes, that could still exist for SEI on the way to a new all-time high in this bull run. Before we start the video, please quickly write in the comments what you think. How many X will SEI reach in this bull run? I'll give you 10 seconds for that now. Take your time to think about it, write down below how many X are possible, and then we'll start the video. In any case, I hope you have a lot of fun, and we'll get started in just a moment. We're also about to kick things off with the first news item. This one's only about 2 weeks old, and I'm sure not all of you know about it yet. Because SEI has entered into a partnership with PayPal. Everyone knows PayPal, even though PayPal hasn't really grown much recently. But PayPal is a payment service provider that everyone uses and everyone knows. And if you look at this, there are 434 million PayPal users worldwide. And PayPal is launching its own stablecoin on the market. And where will the stablecoin be integrated? Specifically on SEI's blockchains. And when such a large company says SEI is the platform where we are launching our stablecoin, the one we trust and where we are confident it will work. I think this is an unbelievably good piece of news for SEI, and, in my opinion, catapults SEI into a completely different league. Like Chainlink and other blockchains, it will really make a name for itself and be able to integrate into the market in the long term. I also think the second piece of news is unbelievably good. And here it says PayPal Cycle, Tether and now Agora. The world's leading stablecoins are coming to SEI. With a circulation of $285 billion, stablecoins are clearly the main use case for on-chain finance. SEI is developing into the preferred global settlement layer. Stablecoins move faster on SEI. So that means the next stablecoin will also be launched on SEI, and that further strengthens SEI's standing. And if you think about it, $285 billion are tied up in stablecoins, and a big slice of that will be settled via SEI in the future, then that's a clear statement. And the third piece of news I also think is absolutely unbeatable. Apollo. One of the world's leading asset managers with assets under management of $840 billion is now live on SEI. And this also clearly points in the direction I've already told you about. SEI is becoming a really major player. And now let's take a look at the chart to see what we can expect from SEI in a moderate bull run. And what we can expect if SEI really takes off? Once again, here's your chance. Write in the comments how many X you think SEI will reach. By the way, down here where the ticker is running, the annoying one that always says subscribe to the channel, you can do that. You can also activate the bell and, of course, optionally leave a comment. As we discussed, write down how many X SEI will reach. Feel free to do that. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of my videos in the future. And if you like these kinds of chart analyses from me, not just for SEI, but for many other coins, both on larger and smaller timeframes, you can check up here on the right. That's where you'll find the note that I have a Discord group, and there you have the opportunity to get these analyses from me as updates 3 times a week. But now let's shed some light on things here with SEI, because there are probably also new viewers who aren't yet familiar with chart analysis. So let's take a look at the coin now and clarify what all these lines and drawings actually mean. SEI was only launched in this cycle, which means it hasn't experienced a bull run yet. And that's generally always a good sign when a coin like this manages to establish itself, that it has really strong potential to rise. Since our low point here, which was in October 2023, SEI has shown a solid performance and saw an increase up until February 2024. And at that time, that was already nearly 1000% that SEI was able to achieve, and now it's correcting in a classic ABC structure in order to prepare for the next upward move. Yes, with SEI, there's still the risk that it won't reach a new all-time high and will continue to be sold off. But that would only happen if Bitcoin doesn't remain bullish and doesn't set a new all-time high. Only then do we have the risk that the price will dip down here. But if the bull run continues to develop bullishly, then that's not an option for us right now. But due to risk management, I have to point out that we are in the riskiest market, and yes, there is also a bearish outlook. But since we are in a bull run, we are focusing on the next upswing, where SEI has already delivered strong performance. Because since the last low we had in April 2025, SEI has already gained nearly 200% in value at its peak. The question now is, we see this white line here and we see the yellow line. These are two forecasts for you that we need to distinguish between, because this rise here could have been, and this is not entirely certain, and it will be crucial for the further development, a 5-part upward movement, which would always be a very clear impulse movement. That means a wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, and a wave 5. Then we would have the option to observe both the yellow count and the white count here, because a first wave that is 5-part can be either a wave 1 or a wave A. As I said, what will be decisive is what happens here in the later section. After that, a classic correction follows in an ABC wave. That's the same for both scenarios, so we've covered that. And now the question is, are we in a wave B in the white count or in a wave 2 in the yellow count? The problem is, you could also say here that we have an ABC movement upwards, which could then only be a wave A. So that's the big question mark we have with SEI, and we'll have to wait and see how the substructures develop. From a top-down perspective, the whole thing would be an ABC structure for me, meaning a 3-part upward movement. This means we would have a wave C as the bull run top. And that would be the classic defensive approach regarding what price SEI could reach. And you have to keep in mind, you'll see completely different numbers out there as well. The problem is always that if you rely on the higher numbers, which I'll show you up here later, and hope to reach them, maybe even playing around with the calculator to see what kind of numbers could come out, you run the risk that if the price only goes up to here, you won't sell because you expect to achieve much higher prices. That's why you should treat these numbers with caution, of course. But now let's take a look at this. This wave C here could bring a price that should be within this range. Of course, we still have to wait and see how the substructures develop. This is just a rough forecast for now, which will be refined as the substructures unfold accordingly. Then you can adjust everything and say it might go a bit higher or a bit lower. But this is the initial forecast so far. This means that SEI could reach a price of $1.43. That would be the minimum in the current forecast. But since we're in a bull run, the price could also continue to rise up to $2.74. This would mean that, from the current price, SEI still has potential for a gain of 380% at the lower end, and at the upper end we're looking at just over 800%, which would still be possible with SEI in this white count. But of course that's not all. If we were to follow this yellow count, which means, let me draw it again, we have a wave 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 here. Then we would have an ABC correction to wave 2 here. And that means we would not have a wave C here, but instead we would be starting a larger wave 3. That would set a price target up here. We would then correct again into a wave 4 and could even, though it's further hidden on the chart and I don't want to move everything, extend into a wave 5. That up there can't be measured yet. What we can measure is this wave 3. And this wave 3 could reach, and hold on to your seats here, this wave 3 could reach at least $6.40 and possibly much more. As I said, that's just the minimum target for this wave 3. It could extend even further, but I won't put those prices on the chart now because that would really be an incredible performance. Because just from the current point to the target of this wave 3, if it does become a wave 3, we're looking at a potential 2,100% gain that could still be expected from SEI. Be honest, did you expect that? Write it down below, yes or no. I'm definitely curious to know. I have to emphasize again, as I said at the beginning of the video, don't let these numbers dazzle you, because no one is saying that the $6.40 has to be reached. It's technically possible, but the underlying structure has to fit, and we simply don't know yet, since this rise could be counted as either a 3 or 5 wave movement. I know that on a tablet or phone where you're watching this small movement back here, I'll make it a bit bigger for a moment, is hard to see, but that would be this first movement. I'll draw it in here again. Wave 1, 2, 3, 4 and wave 5. Or alternatively, wave A, B and wave C. And accordingly, we just have to wait and see whether it will be this wave C or wave 3. So to get back to the point, don't rely on these numbers because, of course, let's say you have, for example, 1,000 SEI and we only reach $1.40, $1.43, then that would be $1,400, and up here it would be $6,400. And if you already have that number in your head, this is a bit of a mindset thing, then you won't sell here because you'll think, why should I sell there? If I could still get another $5,000, which might not even happen. That's why you shouldn't be fooled by that, and you should definitely take partial profits as well. As I mentioned at the beginning, if you follow my Discord channel, the link is in the video description below. You'll get an update on SEI 3 times a week, as well as on many other coins, so you can keep following this upward path. And accordingly, these targets will continue to be narrowed down over time. And you don't have to sell blindly. Instead, you have the opportunity to get a professionally grounded chart analysis with a very low error rate. Of course, there's always some error since I don't have a crystal ball either. But in any case, you'll always be well informed and on a regular basis. So please feel free to check out the offer. And as a little tip, and this brings us to Wix, my cooperation partner, you have 2 great ways to make the most of it. On the one hand, if you deposit with USTC there, you don't have to go through any major identification process. It's not subject to the micro-regulation. That means you're still completely free. You just need an email address and a password of your choice. Then you're already registered. You get an extremely high deposit bonus. It's really good and easy to achieve. That's one thing. And the other thing is, I'm not a tax advisor, so I can't give you any tax advice. But as you know, if you're from Germany, you have to hold the coins for 1 year. So 1 year and 1 day, so that your profit is tax-free. If you sell before that, you have to pay tax on the profit at your individual tax rate. I can't tell you how high that is. In any case, if you make good profits there, it means that in the worst case, you'll have to pay almost 50%, so I think 42 is the maximum tax rate, plus the solidarity surcharge as tax on your profit. One option, and this brings us to Wix, is, for example, you open a futures position. That doesn't mean you necessarily have to leverage the coin, like saying, okay, I want to multiply my profit by 2, 5, or 10, because you could also very quickly suffer a capital loss that way. But if you use leverage, say 1.01 or 1.1, then you don't pay your individual tax rate, because in that case, the profit is covered by the capital gains tax, which is 25%. That means it's most likely lower than your individual tax rate, and optionally, the solidarity surcharge may also be added on top. So that would also be an option, for example through Wix, by including the bonus you can get to work out a small tax saving for yourself. Because I don't think that we will still be in a bull run next year in October. That's why please take a look at the offer. The link is in the video description, and of course also my Discord group, so you know exactly where the entry and exit points are. And you are warmly invited to join my free Telegram group and chat and exchange ideas with other members. We're about 220 members or so. The group is free of charge. One more thing at the end, again about Wix. You also have the option, or rather, the bonus. Anyone who registers with Wix using my link will get access to an exclusive, free Signal Telegram group where you'll regularly receive trading opportunities from me in the short-term area. Setups that I believe could be good trading opportunities. This way, you can also take advantage of smaller swing movements and benefit even more, even when prices are falling, which will keep happening due to pullbacks. I hope you enjoyed my content. If so, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, activate the bell, and choose one of the offers I mentioned to you. And I'd be happy to see you again in the next video. And remember, tomorrow evening, Friday, the next live stream will take place, where I'll also be answering your questions. Thank you, and I look forward to maybe seeing you tomorrow. Until the next video, and bye.